Hello students, how are you? Hope all of you are well. Let us start our third lecture of the prose piece The Eyes Have It by the writer Ruskin. I would ask you to open your book at page 3 of the lesson, The Eyes Have It. Please take your book and reach the page 3 of the lesson, The Eyes Have It by Ruskin. Then first of all, listen to me. I am reading the text. No, I answered quite confidently. I knew that there were hardly any animals left in the forests near there. I turned from the window and faced the girl, and for a while we sat in silence. "You have an interesting face," I remarked. I was becoming quite daring, but it was a safe remark. Few girls can resist flattery. She laughed pleasantly, a clear, ringing laugh. "It's nice to be told I have an interesting face. I'm tired of people telling me I have a pretty face." "Oh, so you do have so you do have a pretty face," thought I, and aloud I said, "Well, an interesting face can also be pretty." "You are a very gallant young man," she said, "but why are you so serious?" I thought then I would try to laugh for her, but the thought of laughter only made me feel troubled and lonely. "We'll soon be at your station," I said. "Thank goodness, it's a short journey. I can't bear to sit in a train for more than 2 or 3 hours." Yet I was prepared to sit there for almost any length of time just to listen to her talking. Her voice had the sparkle of a mountain stream. As soon as she left the train, she would forget our brief encounter, but it would stay with me for the rest of the journey and for some time after. The engine's whistle shrieked, the carriage wheels changed their sound and rhythm. The girl got up and began to collect her things. I wondered if she wore her hair in bun or if it was plaited. Perhaps it was hanging loose over her shoulders, or was it cut very short? The train drew slowly into the station. Outside there was the shouting of porters and vendors, and a high-pitched female voice near the carriage door. That voice must have belonged to the girl's aunt. "Goodbye," the girl said. Now, let us know the meaning. No, I answered quite confidently. I knew that there were hardly any animals left in the forests near there. This sentence is about the fact that there were no animals or few animals in the forest near Dera. The author very confidently informs the girl that no animals are there in the forest of Dera. In this sentence we find the impression or we get the impression that human beings have done great harm to the jungles of the northern parts of India, and so there are few animals there in the forest. This is what we get in these lines. I turned from the window and faced the girl, and for a while we sat in silence. The author now turns from the window to the girl, and for a while both of them are silent. Now the author again starts. You have an interesting face, I remarked. I was becoming quite daring, but it was a safe remark. Few girls can resist flattery. She laughed pleasantly, a clear, ringing laugh. The author here remarks that the girl has an interesting face. He is becoming quite daring. For a moment, thinks that his remark may sound uncivilized, but at the very next moment, he thinks that no, it is a safe remark, and also says that all girls love flattery. Now the girl is laughing a hearty laugh. Her laugh has been described by the author as clear, ringing laugh. It's nice to be told I have an interesting face. I'm tired of people telling me I have a pretty face. Hearing that the author remarked she had an interesting face, the girl said that she is tired of people telling her that. Telling her that she has an interesting face or pretty face. Oh, so you do have a pretty face, thought I, and aloud I said, well, an interesting face can also be pretty. You are a very gallant young man, she said, but why are you so serious? The girl now says that the author is a very gallant young man, but why the author is so serious, she wants to know. I thought then I would try to laugh for her, but the thought of laughter only made me feel troubled and lonely. At this, the author tried to laugh, but he couldn't. Something from inside interrupted him from doing so. Perhaps his heart was heavy, or something was lying in his mind, and he couldn't laugh. Now the author changed the topic. We'll soon be at your station, I said. The author now says that we will soon be at the station. Thank goodness it's a short journey. I can't bear to sit in a train for more than 2 or 3 hours. The girl is very happy to hear this. She says that she can't bear to sit in a train for more than 2 or 3 hours. That means she loves a short journey. Yet I was prepared to sit there for almost any length of time just to listen to her talking. Her voice had the sparkle of a mountain stream. As soon as she left the train, she would forget our brief encounter, but it would stay with me for the rest of the journey and for some time after. This is a beautiful paragraph where the author means to say that once the girl leaves the compartment, she will perhaps forget encountered with the author, but for the author it will be difficult to forget the company he enjoyed with a girl. This is actually happens. This is what happens with a writer, a poet, or someone with softer feelings, or someone who has a romantic nature or attitude. The poet is young. He loves fantasy, uh, and he says that he will remember this company he enjoyed with a girl. The engine's whistle shirked, the carriage wheels changed their sound and rhythm. The girl got up and began to collect her things. I wondered if she wore her hair in bun or if it was plaited. Perhaps it was hanging loose over her shoulders, or was it cut very short? The poet may be blind, but all the other senses are very sharp. The author can hear the sound of the engine, the sound of the wheels changing their sound, and the beautiful rhythm. He saw that the girl got up and began to collect her things. That means she would very soon alight from the train. The author wondered if she wore her hair in bun or if it was plaited. Perhaps it was hanging loose over her shoulders, or was it cut very short? Now the author thinks about the girl's hair, whether the hair were twisted in a bun, or if the hair was hanging like a rope, which is spun with 2 or 3 hairs woven upon each other, or it may be that the hairs are hanging loose over the shoulders, or it may be that the hair was very short. He is engaging himself in fantasy, isn't it? The train drew slowly into the station. Outside there was the shouting of porters and vendors, and high-pitched female voice near the carriage door. That voice must have belonged to the girl's aunt. "Goodbye," the girl said. Now the train reached the station. The shouting of porters and vendors, and a high-pitched female voice were heard near the carriage door. The high-pitched female voice perhaps belonged to the girl's aunt, the author thought. Then the girl bid him goodbye. Now here students, I want to say that somewhere in my speech I have used the word poet. Actually the poet word will not be appropriate. It is I'm sorry that it has been used. The right word will be the author. Okay, so bye bye for the day. Next lesson will start the other day, or okay then, bye.